This is DCR.
This is Terry Cleaver here reporting for Dover Community Radio at the 1940s weekend at the Dover Transport Museum. Here with me I have
Gary Mason,
Bradley Cooper,
and Lawrence Taylor.
And what are you part of, you three?
Well, we're a group called the Battle for Europe. We're based in Essex. Monique Bass is our chairperson, and she runs most of the group. We do events all over the county of Essex, and we do Kent, and we've been up as far as Yorkshire.
and occasionally
France. And we're in France next year, and we're over there for the commemoration of the 70th anniversary.
And what actually brings you down to Dover today?
Today we're just helping out, trying to show the local community and the people who have travelled far as well, just about the period in time, World War II, the different clothing, the uniforms, what happened, and try and give the people just a sense of respect for what happened then as well.
And talking of your clothing, you've all got three very different types of uniforms here. Is it okay to ask each of you individually what you're wearing today?
No problem.
What have you got on today?
This is what they call a 37 pattern. The battle dresses themselves went in the 37 pattern and 40 pattern. The 40 pattern is more of a kind of utility pattern. A lot of the clothing, like the pockets, were all done so it was produced quicker. But the buttons show, so you haven't got a double sort of button and stuff like that. And the mat pocket itself, a lot of it was done just really and truly to save money and to produce the clothing quicker for the troops, because supply problems were becoming a problem. I don't think we've actually got a 40 pattern here, but I think most of us have got the 37 pattern on, which is this particular one. This came in round about 39-40. It was going over from the 28 pattern which they had before that, which was the long frock coat.
Oh right, yeah.
Well, this is actually derived from a golf suit, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah. And what they saw was the golf suit, this is what they call the battle dress, was more economical, and it was also more, it allowed the soldier to move more rather than the early sort of what you'd see in sort of the First World War. And of course by then we'd come over from leather, we'd gone to webbing, and the webbing itself as well. If you look on Lawrence's webbing, in the early part of the war, the webbing was much thicker. It was also wider. But now we've gone to a really sort of economical sort of way of producing the webbing. And believe it or not, the pattern that Lawrence is wearing now was probably for distribution of the equipment the soldier had to wear, was probably one of the best designed pieces of equipment the British Army ever came out with. And it was actually, when it was produced, it was tested at Aldershot, and the troops loved it. It was so much easier to wear, and it was easy to put on. If you look at the backpack that Lawrence has got on there, the small pack, as they call it, that literally keeps 24-hour ration pack in there.
Really? And it looks really quite small, doesn't it?
It's very small. Believe it or not, that also meant to have the water bottle inside as well. But it never did, because you couldn't get the water bottle in there, no. So that's why you see always soldiers with the water bottle on the side. But the webbing itself is well balanced, it fits nicely, doesn't it, Lawrence? And you can literally run with it. Actually, if you also look on the back of what Lawrence has got there, that's his gas cape.
The green
thing that was also used as a kind of bivouac as well, believe it or not. Gas was a big thing during the war, even though it was very seldom used, but it was a big thing. This goes back to the First World War, when it was actually used by the Germans on our troops. But the British Army went down a road of saying, well, this time we're not going to get caught out. And believe it or not, the Germans didn't hardly use it at all.
Really?
But they were carrying it all the time. And of course, the helmet itself has also got a gas cover as well.
What's that actually made out of, the helmet?
The helmet is a design that came from World War One. It has a high content of metal. It was easy to make. The army in 1916, in fact, in February 1916, there was only one per 1,000 men.
One helmet per 1,000
men. By April 16 they'd made over 4 million tin helmets.
It's a complete turnaround,
Yeah,
really.
yeah, and that helmet actually stayed in use for the British Army up until 1944, and then they changed it to the Mark III, which was known as the turtle helmet, which you see some of the troops in Normandy wearing.
Was that called the turtle helmet due to its shape?
Its
was
shape,
it?
yeah, its shape. It's got more protection on the back of the neck. So, but as a helmet, the actual design dates back to the archers at Agincourt.
So it certainly goes back a long way historically.
It is a
speaking.
design that the British have known about since the 1500s.
I see you're all in different types of uniform. Now you're completely different uniform to the other two. What's your uniform all about?
Underneath I'm wearing the similar type of uniform, the 37 pattern made of serge in a brown khaki colour, but as well on the top I'm wearing the leather jerkin, which is quite an early design, was used during the First World War and is still used by the British Army today, and it helps with the wind. With the rain it's not too good. It does like to soak it up. But yeah, these were quite helpful really, and as well I'm carrying the gas mask, which is the Mark 7. I do believe we have a Mark 4 on the front of Lawrence as well, carried on the chest, so it's easily accessible.
So you could just take that out straight away and put it on if you needed to.
It's actually on a hose, whereas the ones which they came out with, the light respirator, is similar to the ones which they use now, because the gas canister, the filter, actually fits onto the front of the mask rather than hanging, as it were, into the bag.
It's all part of the same part.
Sometimes
of the
one canister, sometimes two. So it's quite a change around, really, and it makes it's a lot less awkward, the lighter pattern. But this came out, or a similar design, it came out towards the end of the First World War.
Yeah, it came out in 1916, and it was first issued to the artillery and the chaps on the Vickers machine guns, and then it was issued to the rest of the infantry in early 1917, and it was called the small box respirator. And that stayed in service till about 1935, 1936.
So it was used for quite a long time.
And then it was replaced with the later ones, Mark 4s, 6s and 7s.
And that also goes back to the fact that that is what they call the alert position. Now the alert position, which goes back with what I was saying earlier on, was this obsession with gas. You see it was near the face, you could put it out straight on the face. Well, when they went to the light respirator actually sat on the back, because that was coming in around about 1944, and most of the troops on D-Day had the light one. So it went round the back. Now, they suddenly got over the fact that the Germans were never going to use gas, but there was always going to be that possibility, maybe they were.
Always a chance.
Yeah, because Hitler being a megalomaniac, you never knew which way his brain was ever going to go. So, of course, they always had to be prepared for it. And believe it or not, if you didn't wear it, it was actually a disciplinary code procedure.
What, to wear it?
So you had to have it with you, yes. Even civilians had to have them with them. And that you could actually get fined if you didn't have it.
Because they used to always have the adverts and the posters.
Yeah, but this is where it
didn't
goes. You see, this is this obsession with gas. But it never actually came about.
It's weird because you always think they would have used it because of the amount of memorabilia showing, the posters and that, showing that.
Well, when you think about the technology the Nazis actually had, where they'd gone down the road of having biochemical warfare and stuff like that, they never actually used them. And the reason is that they thought we had something worse.
What was that then?
We didn't.
You didn't know what they were
we didn't have
about.
anything worse. All we had was the same as theirs, but the Germans couldn't take that chance.
Ah, so they just told.
Their scientists always told
tactics.
their commanding officers, "No, you better not use that, because if you use that, they're going to come back with something worse than we've got." And we never had it. Well, we did in the end because we had the nuclear bomb, but they never knew where it was going to go or what was going to happen.
So you're all different ranks, different officers here today, then, in the different dresses that you dressed.
Yeah, my role originally with the BFE was a sniper.
Oh, all right, yeah.
But a little while ago, we decided that we were going to branch out with our officers, because we only had 2 officers. We've got about 50 members now, haven't we? So, if you compare our amount sort of ordinary soldiers that we did have to officers. We didn't really have enough officers, so I've taken on a role as a major. And Bradley there is one of our lieutenants, and we do have a captain within the group as well. So between the three of us, we try to act the part of, how can I put it, each role as an officer, as we would do during the last war. But it seems to work all right. I mean, we seem to be getting on all right and everything else. And if anybody's ever interested in kind of reenacting this sort of thing, the BFE website is always open.
And what's the web link for that?
It's battleforeurope.co.uk. And if you ever like to go on there, you know, we're always welcoming members.
Or events.
And events. And we're after this one, we're at the Gunpowder Mills in Wolverhampton Abbey next weekend, aren't we? So if anybody wants to come along, we're always welcome.
And then we're back down in Dover in the first weekend, the bank holiday, so we'll be there on the Saturday, Sunday and the Monday as well.
And where are you actually going to be in Dover?
We'll actually be in the castle itself.
Is that for a 1940s weekend there?
It's another weekend which will be based around the 1940s, I believe mainly, so there'll be RAF and Tommies as well, and civilian, showing what was happening during the war. And I think we'll be camped just outside the keep, so you can see the tents, the weapons and the vehicles as well.
So there's a lot of other memorabilia you have to go with your uniforms then?
There's plenty of kit and equipment.
And we've got jeeps. We do jeep, yeah. We've got a couple of people that own jeeps, a couple of people that own trucks. So.
Motorbikes, guns, tents.
Yeah.
We have the full works, as it were.
Have you bought any of your memorabilia, jeeps or anything down today, or...?
Not really. The weather has been pretty awful today.
Yeah, it's not been good, has it?
No, we were expecting a few other groups to come down, but they didn't turn up. But no, Kent tends to be, well, for us, unless we understand that now petrol's very high and everything else, and for people to come down, it's quite expensive. So, I mean, if we're local, then we do like we are, say, something at the Gunpowder Mills. We'll probably get more people driving their trucks into Gunpowder Mills and say coming this far.
Yeah, because how far the distance is.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, some of our local ones that we do in Essex, it's the Gunpowder Mills. We do that one up in Cambridgeshire. Anglesey Abbey we used to do, and there was a couple that we used to do up there. But this year we'll also be at Detling in September, which is down here. Which is another
good to see.
Yeah. We always do the Detling one, don't we?
There'll be quite a big display there. We have we normally take up the whole of the woods, and there'll be several different groups down there. So, as well as just doing Essex Regiment, there'll be engineers, there'll be parachute regiment, medical units, you name it, really, the lot.
There's loads there for everyone to enjoy and learn about.
Oh, and just one little thing before we forget the women who
definitely.
were involved in the war. I know they were. We do have a little section within the Essex Regiment which we've got an SOE sort of section, and we also have an ATS, so women are welcome.
Well, that's good to hear.
Even though a lot of them didn't fight, but with the SOE sort of contingent that we do get, we also have a little French resistance reenactment little group that we have as well, because that way it gives the women something to do. I'm not trying to what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not trying to be sexist amongst this, but one has to look at the fact that it's 1940, 45.
So it's different back then to now.
Exactly,
sort of
it's different to what it is now. Entirely different. I mean, women weren't allowed on parade grounds unless they were the ATS, and they never picked up weapons very seldom. And really and truly, the SOE were really the only people that ever fired guns and stuff. But saying that, we have found out lately that women that were in the ATS were allowed to ask their commanding officers, if they could, to go on the firing range.
Really?
And I do have a picture on my phone which shows ATS women on a firing range firing rifles. So they were allowed to shoot. So this fallacy about women not picking up guns for the war is really quite a fallacy.
That's surprising, isn't it, really?
Yeah. And if you go to the Norman Museum in Portsmouth, they've actually got pictures of women on firing ranges, firing guns. So, and apart from that, my memory serves me, I don't mean to go on too long, but if you go to Shoebury Ness, and
the fort there, is that?
There used to be a testing ground, believe it or not, and when the men were all away fighting, women used to fire also 25-pounders and test shells and test bazookas and everything. So there is a little fallacy that women never used to take up arms, but they took up arms in different ways.
Surprising, isn't it? You learn something new every day, don't
From
you?
the pickaxe handle to the 25-pounder, you can't say more varied than that.
Did you collect all your own memorabilia then, or?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
I've been collecting for about 10-15 years. Most of it is early Second World War and First World War. It's becoming more and more rarer now, so you have to find bits and pieces by chance. But it's a good hobby. It's a good hobby.
You certainly enjoy travelling the width and breadth of the country and the county of Essex at different events.
Yeah. We actually go up a little bit farther than the Essex lays. We go up to the Midlands and Coventry. So our area takes in the Solent, and up as far as Coventry.
It's quite a big area, isn't it? To cover?
It is indeed, yeah. And we mainly do World War One, but now we've actually started off doing some early World War Two, which we find interesting for the public, because everybody ignores the early war in the Second World War. So we hope to put it right with some early Second World War impressions and displays.
It certainly brings the reality of it to life, doesn't it? Really?
It does bring the reality of it to life, because the army in 1940 was ill-trained and ill-equipped to take the German army on of 1940, and it takes the British army up until about 1943, 1944 to even think about taking on the German army in any.
It took a few years then.
In any large numbers. And the outcome of that is the invasion of Italy in 1943, and then the invasion of France in 1944. So we helped to bring to people's attention.
That's good, because you're sort of bringing it to life and educating people about the early part of the war.
That's what we're here for. And if they meet us, if they go away and read a book or a film, and we think we've done our job, and if they know just a little bit more about the men who did it for real, then we've done our job.
That's the best thing, isn't it? Bringing that bit to life.
Yeah, because they're all starting to go now. I think there's only something like 9 fighter pilots who fought in the Battle of Britain left, and there's only one chap left from 617 that did the Dambusters raid. So within 10 years those men will be gone, and the women will be gone. So it'll be left to us to keep the memory alive.
And you've got to really to stop something like that happening again, haven't
Exactly.
you? Yeah.
Exactly. Because when if you find that their memory is forgotten, then there's an even chance it'll happen again, and the next one will be worse. So, actually we do it so people are aware of what happens when it, all goes wrong, so to speak.
God, let's hope it doesn't, though. Eh?
No, exactly.
And finally, have you enjoyed yourselves here at the event today? Has the feedback been good?
Yeah, it seems to be pretty good. The public have enjoyed it, although the weather hasn't been too great. It's been a little bit cold, and it has started to rain in the last hour or so. But the feedback seems pretty good for the people. Some people didn't realise this was around here, so it might bring them back to the museum again. So the event has helped, and also they've learnt hopefully a little piece of history as well.
Definitely. Thanks very much, guys.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
You're welcome. Very welcome.
If you would like a request played on Dover Community Radio, email studio@dovercommunityradio.co.uk or phone the studio during live transmission on 01304 829 731. Dover Community Radio. It's time to get involved.